Wait, where can you find the book? Because in Google Classroom I don't see it.
Rosie, are you able to help us out for the book?
Yes, I'm gonna get it right now.
Okay, thank you. While we're waiting for the book, feel free to use a pen and paper. So we'll be writing down a goal that we saved up for. How did you approach it? And what was your result? So did you save up money every week, every 2 weeks, for the month? And then what was your end result for your goal?
Am I able to answer the question now, or do I have to wait?
Sure. You're ready now, Prince? Sure.
Yes. A time I saved money for a goal would be the time that I wanted to save enough money to invest in a certain egg stock because of the egg prices that were going up by 23%. I thought that if I could invest in buying a good amount of stocks, I could probably make a good return from it.
Okay. And then what was your result?
The result was good. It still went up by around 18 to 23%, but I might have to pull it out soon because it might decrease.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing, Prince. So Prince talked about investing some money, and not just investing, but he's also thinking and analyzing, okay, am I going to make money for this? Am I not going to make money from this? And a lot of times when you're creating goals, right, figuring out or trying to predict what is that end result going to be like, or what's the end result that you would like. So thank you for sharing. All right. I have Marilena.
A time I save money is when I started working. I would save enough money so I can buy myself groceries, and I could do my laundry and like stuff for resources, and then the rest of the money I would get like maybe clothes or shoes.
Great. And those are all great goals because you focused on things that are like basic necessities, right? We need clothes, we need shoes, right? So you created a goal. And then also, what was your approach to the goal? Did you have like a specific, because you said that when you were working. So did you think about, okay, how much were you saving per week or every time that you got paid?
Yeah, like when like I calculate everything when it comes to the money, when it comes to my grades, like so what I would do is like I would get the amount I get per week, and what I would do is I would divide it by 4, and if let's say there was a certain amount of hours I worked and I didn't make as much money as the last week, what I would do is instead of trying to buy stuff for myself, I would do 3/4 of the money I would invest in my resources, and the one, if I had enough for like my own things, like if I wanted some earrings or something, um I would use the 1/3. But when I would work more hours, I would do 2/4 for the resources and 2/4 for things I just wanted, not needed.
Wow. Can we please do a virtual clap for Marilena? That was great. You like gave us all the math. You broke it down for us. I'm saving half of the check. I'm saving a third of the check. Just making sure that I have something. Are we all still together? I feel like it timed out for a little bit. Can everyone hear
Yeah,
me?
your
Yeah,
clip literally it
Yeah,
just all
something
the
happened.
audio just went off.
But we're all back,
Yeah.
right? I think I can see
Yes.
us. Okay, great. All right. Thank you all so much for those goals that you shared. The next question I have is, why is saving important to you? And I feel like I saw Victor type something in the chat, but it's not there. Victor, if you wanted to share really quick with us your goal that you saved up for, if you could want to type it back in the chat. Okay. Yes, Prince.
I think saving is very important because there's in terms of long term, I think it can benefit you if you need to buy something very important for yourself. Like an example of this would be I would say healthcare or certain investments in certain ages when you retire. You will want to save early on because later on you're gonna need that money to buy certain medications, food, and retirement house for you to stay in if you go that route.
Yes, another virtual clap for Prince. He talked about also preparing for our future. There will be one day when we will not be working, we'll retire. So we want to have something saved up for when we're no longer working, right? So definitely great answer. Anyone else want to let us know why saving is important?
Me?
Yeah, I heard me. Who was me? Wadlika?
Wadika.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, Wadlika.
Saving is important to me. Like if you have an emergency, you gotta be able to have cash like aside. Like if something happened, you have to have something to rely on.
Yes,
I think
yes.
like even if like for school or like you going to college and stuff, if you can't if they give you a scholarship and stuff, they won't give you all of the money. So you have to be able to have something to help yourself. You
Yes,
can't just expect everybody to just give and give to you.
thank you so much for sharing, Walika. And what you just shared was very important because emergencies happen, right? I remember being in college and I had like a flat tire, right? And I needed to get the car towed because I was on the Garden State Parkway and AAA doesn't come to the Garden State Parkway, right? So always just being prepared for that unexpected, putting something to the side and you're just putting it just in case, right? You might hear the term emergency savings or rainy day fund. That's just that just in case money, always having that just in case money. All right, I see Prince and Marianne name. Your hands are up, but is that from earlier or you had another response? Okay, Prince put his hand down.
Sorry.
Mariana?
Yeah, I was trying to answer the question, but like, I think with Lika, she already, I feel like she already said my answer.
She
Like,
said your
she
answer?
said,
Okay.
yeah. I like the way that she responded though. Like, it was very smart.
It was very smart. Yes, very smart response. Thank you all so much. So when it comes to saving, it's really less about how much you save each time, but more so about creating that habit, right? Once you create that habit, and I think that what I saw Victor putting earlier, something about saving maybe $5 per week. I believe that's what I saw him put. And even that, right? Starting off small, if you're saving like $5 per week, then you know that okay, at some point in time by the end of the month, okay, I have 20. Then now you're calculating that by the end of the year, right? How much money will I have saved by the end of the year just by starting with that small amount? All right, so goal setting, right? So whether you're setting goals for now or you're setting goals for later, the goals give you the direction and it keeps you focused on whatever that goal is that you have for your future, right? Whatever those goals that you're actually building for the future that you would want. When it comes to creating goals, we break it into different parts. So, a goal that you would like to accomplish in less than 6 months, that is an immediate goal. So that could be a side hustle that you have, earning money. It could be opening a savings account. It could be like for Victor's example, starting to save like $5 a week, right? Or a short-term goal. That means that your goal is less than 2 years. Saving for unexpected costs, right? That Wadlika was just talking about. Saving for a laptop, saving for a car, planning for your career, right? Or even a medium term goal. Now we're talking about 2 to 5 years, earning your degree, becoming an entrepreneur, right? In the future, wanting to own your own home. And then we have long-term goal, which is 5 years or more. In this goal, we're starting a family. We could be becoming a homeowner, or Prince was just telling about this, planning for retirement, right? So you have four types of goals here: an immediate goal, a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, and a long-term goal. So on pages 4 and 5 in the book, and hopefully we were able to access the workbook. I did see Rosie post the link earlier.
Yeah, and the
Um,
link, when you click it, is it just says like it just gives the title. It doesn't give the book.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why it's not opening for them because I can see it, but it's not opening for them. So I'm not sure if we have to share it out separately, but
okay.
I'm working on it.
Okay, no problem. So what we'll do for this next one activity, thinking about a goal that you have right? A goal that you thought about. And the two things that we want to do with this, not only be specific about your goal, but also when you would like to complete that goal. A goal without a date is just a wish, right? We're just manifesting something that we would like to accomplish. Like I could easily say that I want to be rich by tomorrow, but is that realistic? I see Prince shaking his head no, right? It's not realistic, right? I can't just become rich overnight. I didn't really plan it out. I didn't plan it out properly. So if your goal is to buy a car, your goal is to get a job, right? How soon would you like to do that? Do you want to do that immediately, within 6 months? Creating the goal and then saying a time frame. So for example, if you say that I want to graduate high school, okay, so June 2023, my goal is to graduate high school. If I would like to start college in the fall, September 2023, my goal is to start a college, right? So you stating the goal, and then now you're also giving a time frame. So I'll give you all about maybe 30 seconds to think about that. And then the next thing that we'll do, we'll share together, right? While we're working on getting the workbooks, we'll share together what those goals are. So I'll give you 30 seconds to think about it. And then once you have your goal in mind, feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat. So remember, a goal and a date, a goal and a date. So the month and the year is fine. All right, I see Prince is ready to share with us his goal.
My goal is to be able to create another business, a tech business, by possibly.
Prince, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was on mute.
It's okay.
A goal that I wanted to do was create a tech business by 2030, and I started doing that by trying to save $10 to $20 a week in investment to see what I need to pay for and what other things I might need for it in the future.
Wow, that's really great, Prince. You even went into the next activity where we even talk about breaking down those goals. But that was really great because you said that you want to start a business, you said a tech business. So yours is more focused on a long-term goal because it was more than the 5 years, right? Okay, thank you so much for sharing. All right, I have Roberto.
Wait, wait, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So the goal I made for New Year was to by 2024 have $10,000.
By 2024, you said $10,000.
Well, you know. Yeah.
What month in 2024? January,
Yeah.
mid 2024, end of 2024?
By by January, like by the end of the year.
By end of 2024.
The end of this year, start of
Oh,
2024.
end of
That was
end
my
of
goal.
this year. Oh, okay, great. Even better. Even better. Okay, great. So
Yeah.
before we take the break, right? I definitely want to tell you all how to actually accomplish and get the plan for these goals. Has anyone ever heard of the SMART format? SMART format. Anyone? Anyone? Let's see in the chat. Okay, so SMART format is when we're creating a goal, we want to make our goal SMART. The very first thing we do is we want our goal to be specific, right? Ask ourselves, what is this goal for? Where will it happen? Next, we want our goal to be measurable, right? Have a target that you can measure to see how close you are to your goal. So for Beto, your target is $10,000. That's your target of how much you need to achieve, right? Now, the next thing is A is for achievable. So how will we actually reach that $10,000? How much do you need to save either every week, every 2 weeks, or every month to reach that by January 2024, right? Achievable is finding the motivation to accomplish your realistic goal. Sometimes with achievable, we have to do a little bit of math and figure out if our goal is a financial goal, how much will it cost us, right? And R is relevant. This is why it's important to you, right? Create a reason behind your goal, right? It will keep you driven, it will keep you motivated. And then the T, time bound, which is what we already did in the first activity. We choose a date, and that date helps us keep progress. So a lot of times we may create a goal, but by the time that it comes to, let's just say, that 6 months, or it comes that start of the year, we may not have accomplished it. So now we can now change our time bound, right? Maybe give ourselves an additional 3 months, additional 6 months, more time to be able to accomplish our goal. And I'll give you a full example here of a SMART goal. So it says here, I want to have an emergency fund of $200 in a savings account to prepare for the unexpected. I will save $10 a week for 20 weeks to reach my target by the end of this year. That is a full goal in a SMART format. Any questions on this part so far?
Yes, I have a personal question if you don't mind.
Yes. Yes.
What was your goal and how did you work towards it?
Great question. Great question. So my goal I'm still working on, but my specific goal is I'm actually trying to cut down on debt, so pay off my car loan. My time frame that I would like to pay off my car loan is by March 2024. And so what I'm doing is paying for my achievable. I am paying a minimum of $500 per month, and then I'm even breaking that down even more. Every 2 weeks, I'm putting aside $250. The reason that is relevant, it's important to me, is because I would like to cut down debt. Great question, Prince.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, it is 7:10. We are going to take a break and come back at 7:20, and then we'll come back from where we left off, just so that you all have the opportunity to still take notes in your books. 7:20.
Okay, just really quickly though, before you guys drop off, are you able to download the document? I'm not sure why it's not opening in Google Classroom. Like, I'm able to see it, but when I send out the link, it's not, for whatever reason, it's not registering that there's a class or that there's documents in the classroom. Okay, so
Rosie, I'll email it to you again, to the actual PDF version, if that helps.
yeah, I just downloaded the PDF version, and that's what I just attached in the chat. I just want to make sure that they can see it.
Okay.
Lorena said yes. Victor said
Yes, it can be downloaded.
yeah, you said it can't be downloaded?
It can. It's just like the Google Classroom that's not working.
Right, I know, that's what I'm asking. So do you guys see the PDF and can you download it? Okay, that's okay, great. I just want to make sure you guys can at least access the PDF version, and then we'll have to figure out what's going on with the Google chat, or excuse me, the Google Classroom. But as long as you guys can access it from the PDF, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. See you all back again soon. leap year, how much will we have saved up?
Wasn't
Prince?
it 362?
366, actually 366. So an
366.
extra, yes, an extra day for the year, February 29th. That's what gives us a leap year. All right. But $1 now, we're probably thinking $1 is not that much, right? And Victor was telling us earlier that he saves $5, right? $5 every week. But now if we take a step further, we're thinking about $5 every single day in 1 year. How much money does that give us?
$1,825.
1,825. And who was that just shared?
It was Samuel.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you. Right? So what do we spend our money on every single day? We could type it in the chat. We could throw them out
Food.
there.
Food.
Food. Uber Eats, the DoorDash, the snacks from the stores, right? So that $5 less, we still need to eat, right? We still need to eat. But then now, can we cook at home? Right? Earlier, who was sharing the option about the grocery shopping? Someone was sharing about grocery shopping earlier.
Me.
Marilena?
Yeah.
Okay. So even with grocery shopping, things are so much more expensive now, right? Because we have like inflation. So food shopping is way more expensive. So what are ways to cut back food shopping, right? Are we using coupons? Are we going with the buy one, get one free? Looking at items that are a little bit more expensive. Are we comparing the brands to see, okay, which this still tastes good, but which brand is a little bit cheaper? Right. I don't think anyone drinks like coffee in the morning, get them ready for the day or anything, right? But I know coffee is typically that thing that's like about that $5 like per day, right? So can we make that coffee or the tea that we maybe drink or hot chocolate, right? Can we make that at home instead of making that Dunkin' Donuts run or that Starbucks run? Yes, Prince.
Yes. Have you seen certain mistakes that people have done while saving?
Well, with the saving, what happens is sometimes we're trying to save and spend at the same time. But with the saving, you more so want to set a certain number that works according to your budget. So it happens, right, in terms of making not saving enough because something may happen for the future, unexpected, not having enough in that emergency savings, but more so when you're analyzing and looking at your budget, how much out of my budget can I afford to save? So that's why that formula that I showed earlier, you try to figure that out so that you won't have to worry if something is to happen, right, in the future of how much you have saved up once you create that habit. Great question, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we went over $1 per day, $5 per day, and then do we have the big number right there? I think Roberto was giving us an option earlier. He was talking about the $10 as well, right? Now $10 in 10 years, because some of the goals we have long-term goal, right? Prince told us that he wants to have like a tech business by 2030, right? So if we save up $10 less every day, making a slight adjustment to our daily routines that we do every day, $36,520. Is this a lot of money? Is this a lot of money? I'll ask one more time. Is this a lot of money?
Yes.
Yes, right? 36,000 could get us a lot of things, right? Starting us off what maybe like a car, college, down payment for a home. Prince was talking earlier about retirement, right? Thinking about the small change that we can make on a daily basis to get to that big, big difference. Okay, so we have completed our budgeting, saving, creating goals. We are now going to transition into our credit workshop. If you would like, while I'm switching out the workshop screen, let me know what is it that you're interested to learn when it comes to credit. You can type it in the chat. What is it that you're interested to learn when it comes to credit?
Yes. Same thing for me.
So in the chat, how to maintain good credit, okay? Anything else when it comes to credit? What else would we like to learn? All right, how credit score works. Yes, yes, yes. Those are all great things, right? So let's get right into the workshop. So first, understanding what credit is. Is credit money? That's the very first question. Thumbs up if you think credit is money. Thumbs up if you think credit is money. Thumbs up. There's no wrong answer, so it's okay. There's no wrong answer. So let's see what we have in the chat. Prince said, not really. Samuel, what do you think? Is credit money? Mary Elena? Yes. You think it's money? Roberto think it's money?
No,
Anyone?
I actually wanted to say something. I was
Okay.
gonna say I don't think that credit is money, but how you deal with money. I think like I know that when you buy a house or you get a card or anything, you need to be able to pay the card or pay the house on time and pay everything on time. It's how you deal with the money, not how much you have.
Right. And that's great, right? How do you manage that credit? That could depend on whether or not it's considered money, right? Prince said, depends on how you look at it. Derek said yes. And then Roberto, you wanted to add in there?
Wasn't credit just like a loan or something like that?
Yeah, credit, it is a loan, right? So you all are correct. When it comes to credit, it is money, but it's borrowed money. It is not our own physical money. It's not money that we earned from our job, from our side hustle. It is borrowed money, right? So if we're breaking down what credit means, it is borrowed money. So what are the benefits of using credit? What would you say are the benefits of using credit? And then also, while we're thinking about that, what are the costs of using credit? So let's see. Prince, what would you say? What are the benefits of using credit? Okay, I see Wadlika.
Some of the benefits of using money, credit is like you don't have to use your own physical money, or if it's like too much, you could pay it with credit instead of like, giving cash and stuff.
Yes, exactly that, right? You spending somebody else's money temporarily and then we pay them back, right? Great, great answer. Khalil. You're on mute. It's okay. If your mic is not working, it's fine. You can type in the chat. I'm sure you have a great response for us. Mary Lena.
I think what are the benefits of using credit? I
Yes.
think it's good because when you have a good credit, you're when you, let's say for example, you buy a house, they look at that, so you'll be able to buy your own house or buy your own car. So the
Yes.
more the more you are responsible with your money, the more the better ability you're gonna have to have things like nice things in life.
Yes, 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 Marilyn. And that is exactly that, right? For a home, for a car, all those things, we need to have credit, and not just credit, but having good credit, right? Wadlika, you had another response first, or your hand is still up? Okay,
Sorry.
Prince.
I'll explain my question again. I like that. The benefits of using credit. An example of this would be buying a house, because when you're buying a house, you're using around 10% on a down payment, and you will want the bank to pay off the rest. Having a good credit will allow the bank to loan you the money in hopes that you will pay that back. In terms of a bad credit, which may not allow the bank to give you the money you need.
Exactly, exactly, Prince. Sometimes when our credit is not so good, the lenders do not want to let us borrow money, right? But for us all scholars here today, right, we're not going to have bad credit, right? We're going to learn about ways to actually have great credit and maintain that great credit. When you think about the cost, there are fees to having credit, right? There are things called like an interest rate, right? Which is additional money you're paying on top of having the credit card, right? There's interest for even the car loan that we're paying, right? We're trying to pay off the car, we're trying to pay off the house, but there are usually fees on top of that. If we pay late, if we do not make our payment on time, there are fees associated with that. So there is an additional cost when it comes to having credit and having, although the borrowed money, we may also have to pay more money on top of that. All right, I see Khalil hand is back up.
Khalil, are you speaking? Because you're on mute if you are.
I think maybe the mute button's not working. It's okay. Feel free to type in the chat. All right, now if we're trying to build credit, a lot of the ways, a lot of you starting off, you'll be able to build credit, and it's a little bit, I would say harder in the beginning because probably don't have credit, right? I think in the beginning, Prince might have been the only one that said that he probably checked his credit score. But understanding first, credit is ability to buy now and pay over time, right? You can, let's just say, for example, like you buy a car, you buy that house, over time, you will start to pay towards that full amount, right? When it comes to building credit, if we don't do anything else, we have to make our payments on time. We cannot forget to make our payments on time. If we could pay more than once for the month, that's even great too, right? To bring down our balance, but always keeping a positive credit history. I think Marilena was saying it earlier in terms of credit. Credit is associated with your character. It's associated with your responsibility. Doesn't mean that you're not a good person, right? But when we're looking at the lender's looking at, okay, how well are you maintaining your credit? How well are you maintaining a good credit history that would make me want to lend you money to buy that car, right? To rent that apartment. For a lot of you, in the near future, student loans will be your first type of credit that you will have, right? Student loans will be part of your credit history, and it will be part of your credit history for a very long time, right? Up until you pretty much pay off that full amount, it'll be part of your credit history. So knowing that when you do have those student loans, you understand how much is it that you owe, how much do you have to pay per month. When you start college, it's like one of the first things that happen. I remember it happened to me when I was going to college. The creditors, they're everywhere. They're writing you, like when you turn 18 or you get on like that college campus, they're writing you, they're offering you credit cards. But again, being mindful, right? Just because everyone reaches out and would like to let us get this borrowed money does not always mean that we should take all the credit cards that they are offering to us, right? But that's another way to start building credit, is with the credit card. Right now at your ages, believe it or not, even in high school, you can start building credit, right? Your family can add you as what's called an authorized user. It does not necessarily mean that they will take a credit card, put in your name, hand it over to you. But what it means is if they're building up great credit history, you also can take advantage of having that great credit history as well. Because as authorized user, it just means that if this person, let's just say a family member had a credit card, they had it for 5 years, they're paying on time, you were on there as an authorized user, you now have 5 years worth of credit history. Let's just say you started at a young age, like 13, 14. By the time you turn 18, you now have credit already built up. So it does now increase your chances of getting approved for like a car loan, getting approved for like an apartment, right? In the near future too, a lot of you probably will decide to move out or maybe live off of campus from college. Most landlords, if not all landlords, they require a credit check, right? And so if you don't meet whatever that standard is when it comes to credit check, now you have to ask somebody else, ask a family member, maybe to put the apartment in their name because you don't have credit. But when it comes to rent an apartment, it's like one of those things where the landlord looks, if you pay the rent on time, right? Or if you pay your credit on time, you'll pay the rent on time, right? Again, credit is associated with your character and your responsibility. Right. And then now, again, like a car loan, same thing. If you would like to get a car in the future, if you're not paying it outright full out cash, you have an auto loan, you will have to make monthly payments on that. But again, to get the best options, to get the best rates when it comes to an auto loan, definitely want to have good credit. Or what happens is your rates are a little bit higher. You sometimes even pay even more on the loan by not having good credit. Right. So let's look at a couple of terminology words here. We have the word credit, credit bureau, credit report, credit score. right? So I'll read out the definition to the right, and you all either you can come off of mute and shout it out, or you can put it in the chat, right? What these things match to. So for example, the first one is your track record of credit payments over time. Is this credit, credit bureau, credit report, or credit score? And feel free, you can come off of mute or put it in the chat. Your track record of credit payments over time. What is this? Your track record of credit payments over time.
Credit score.
Credit score. Anyone else have a different response, or we're all going to agree credit score?
Credit.
Marilena said credit report. I heard the word credit, so I heard a few different responses. Credit report, credit score. Okay, so we'll hold on to that one, right? We'll hold on to that response. The next one that I'm going to read, and at the very end, we're going to put it all together, right? We're going to see if we're correct. So at the next one is most of your credit and payments are reported to them. Is it credit, credit bureau, credit report, or credit score? But most of your credit and payments are reported to them. I see credit bureau. Okay. Are we sticking with credit bureau? Thumbs up if we're sticking with credit bureau. All right, next one. This indicates how likely you are to repay a loan or make payments on time. This indicates how likely you are to repay a loan or make payments on time. Is it credit, credit bureau, credit report, or credit score? All right, I see credit score, credit score, credit score, credit score. Okay. And then last one, the ability to buy now and pay later. The ability to buy now and pay later. What is this one? All right, the answer is credit, 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 credit coming in. All right, so here are the answers. So the first one, your track record of credit payments over time, that is your credit report. Most of your credit payments are reported to the credit bureaus. This indicates how likely you are to repay a loan or make payments on time. That is your credit score. The ability to buy now and pay later, that is credit. So give it up a clap for yourselves. Great job. Marilena said she got them all right. Great job. Great job. All right, moving right along. So when it comes to building your credit, always understanding what the basics are of the credit that we just went over, right? Went over some great terminology. We talked about credit, credit score, credit bureau, right? Applying for credit will usually show up on your credit report. So even when you're applying for a new credit, right? You apply for a car, you apply for a credit card, that will show up on your credit report. Credit report is like similar to like right now, like your report card, right? Keeping up with your grades. So it's the same thing when it comes to your credit, or even like for a job, like your job looks at your resume. They're looking at your skills. They're looking at your experiences. So the credit bureau, they're the ones that gather that information, right? The credit reports, they send out to the lenders, right? The people that you apply to get the credit cards from, the people that you apply to buy that car, to buy that home, or even like department stores, right? So some stores may give you the option that you want to buy like that laptop. Okay, we have a department store credit card. This is how much it may cost to buy it if you use our credit card, right? But all these things will come up with a credit report where they're checking your credit. Always consider your goals, always consider your budget, and very, very important, consider your ability to pay when you make your decision. When you're applying for credit, will I be able to include this in my budget, right? So now thinking that, again, it is borrowed money, but borrowed money that every single month that you have to make a payment on, right? So understanding with credit, what are your monthly payments going to look like? Knowing your score, right? So let me just go back one screen because I have a question. Can anyone name, or even if we type in the chat, the credit bureaus? There are 3 of them. Can we name the credit bureaus? Let's see, credit bureaus. Who are the credit bureaus? Say it one more time, Prince.
Credit Suisse.
Credit Suisse. Okay, so in terms of the credit bureau, Credit Suisse, what do they provide?
They're mainly a loaning bank.
So So they're a loaning bank. Okay. So with the loaning bank, they would be the ones that would get the information from the credit bureau.
Oh.
The Credit Suisse would get information from the credit bureau. So there are particular 3 different companies that, okay, Mary Lena, I see them in there. I see Equifax, I see Experian, and TransUnion. Yes, so those are all 3. And put up on here on the screen for you all to see as well. If you have not heard of these credit bureaus, these are very important people to know. TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, right? They generate your score by gathering information based off the companies that lend money to you. Okay, these are the 3 main credit bureaus. When it comes to credit score, quick question: what is the lowest possible score we can have? So if we really have no credit at all, what is the lowest possible score we can have? Victor said 100. Any other guesses out there? Prince said 0. Lorena said 0. Mariana said 300. Mariana, have you been in this class before? 300. Yes, great job. 300. All right. Now, the highest. What is the highest score we could possibly have? She said, no, I have not been in this class. What is the highest score we can possibly have? I see 750. I see 800. A little bit higher, a little bit higher. 850. Yes, let's clap it up for yourselves. 850 is the highest that we could possibly have, right? So now, when it comes to these scores, this is very important. How do we actually get that score, right? How do we get those great scores? How do we get that good credit, excellent credit? The first thing is understanding when they're determining our score, how do they determine it? So you will hear of multiple systems when it comes to the credit scoring system. So we have one called FICO, right? Which is from the Fair Isaac Corporation. Then we have Vantage Score. FICO has like between 13 to 16 systems within themselves. Vantage have, I believe, about 6. This one in particular I'm showing you here is Vantage Score 3.0 when it comes to the credit score, right? What makes it up is 40% is your payment history, right? So in the beginning, I said, if we don't do anything else, at least we have to pay on time. There is a second part when it comes to the payment history. We also have to at least pay our minimum payment. When you receive that first credit card bill, they're going to tell you at minimum, you need to pay $50 per month, right? And that's just an example. No, we cannot just pay 40. No, we cannot just pay 48 and 50 cents, 49.99. We have to pay minimum payment, $50 or more, or whatever they state your minimum payment is, right? So again, we pay on time and we pay at least our minimum payment. Best practice that I usually say with this is you can schedule like an auto pay for those credit bills, or you can pay a couple days in advance. That helps you to make sure that you don't forget that payment. You can schedule the calendar payment, right? Put on your calendar, or a lot of companies now, they allow you to schedule that payment way in advance when you would like them to take that money. Okay. But always ensure that you pay your bills on time. That is 40% of your score. All right, next we have credit history. This is 21% of your, if they're looking at Vantage Score, 21%. This is 2 things. First, the length of credit history. For most people, this is a mortgage or a student loan. These are the loans that you will have for the longer terms, right? A mortgage could be somewhere anywhere up to almost 30 years. Student loans, I know people that have student loans for 20 years and up, right? So understanding that that history that you're building over time is 21% of your credit. So when you do start to have credit cards, you do start to have those open lines, understanding that the best thing to do is if you have it, you pay it off, you can put it to the side, lock it up somewhere. But the long-term credit cards that you have, when you close them out, you also lose that history. Right? A lot of times that happens. We have the credit cards, we get so frustrated with them and we cut them up, we close them, we say, I don't want to deal with this credit card anymore. But once we close out that card, we now have lost that credit history. So keeping your accounts open, keep them in good standing for a long time is actually a benefit towards your score. The second part, and Mary Lena, I'll get to your question soon. The second part is the types of credit, right? So lenders like to see that you have a mixture. They like to see that you have credit cards, you may have a car loan, you may have a mortgage. And then that's kind of create what's called like the Jones effect. Like, oh, okay, so Macy's let you borrow money, Target let you borrow money, Best Buy let you borrow money. You know what? I want to let you borrow money too, right? Because now that means that you must be maintaining good credit if everybody else let you borrow money. So also, I'll also would like to give you money. Yes, Marilena?
Um, Honestly, I forgot my question. So I'm gonna remember it and I'm gonna ask you.
Okay, no problem. Next, we have credit usage. This is the credit overall that we're using, right? They compare the amount that we've used compared to the amount that we have not used, the amount that we can still borrow. There is a rule of thumb that if you're using credit cards, to try to use 30% or less. And I'll put that into numbers for you all. So if you get a credit card and they say that your limit is $1,000, that's it, right? First, never go over your limit when it comes to credit cards. We always have to maintain and track our balances so that we don't go beyond that, right? Because now we start to look at even more additional fees. The next thing is try not to carry no more than, if the limit is 1,000, no more than $300 on your month to month. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot spend more than that $300, but by the time that you pay off that bill before your next bill comes, for example, if you spent $500 for the month, right? You have to calculate if there's interest, if there's fees, having that credit card back down to $300 or less to maintain that 30%. If your limit is more than 1,000, then now calculating, okay, what is 30% of my full credit card limit, right? This is 20% of your credit usage, 20%. Yes, Marilyn, you remember your question? How many credit cards are recommended for the first time building credit? There is no specific recommendation. If I'm being honest with you, you'll notice that when you apply for that first card, you get approved. Like I said, a lot of lenders will be reaching out to give you credit cards, to give you free money, especially like when you're in college, they offer you like college credit cards. It's more so thinking, do I need this card, right? After you get your first one, depending on the limit that they give you, right? You can use it for books, you can use it for so many things, but is it part of my budget to apply for another card? Right. And if it's not part of your budget to be able to pay that monthly payment after you borrow that money, then I would say maybe maintain that one that you have until you get to a point where you can maintain more than one credit card. All right, next we have 11%. This is your total balances. This is the overall amount of how much you owe. And that's whether that amount is current or if that amount is past due. So if you have some credit card bills that you have not paid in the past, you have some loans that you haven't paid off, that will all be included and be 11% of your credit score, right? So again, keeping your credit card balances low is going to show that you're not reaching your credit limits and you're not that close to your credit limits, right? Next, we have recent credit. This is 5%. This is where, Marilena, this comes into play in terms of when you're opening new credit cards, right? And any new credit accounts, what happens is you get something called a hard credit inquiry or a hard credit check. So you'll see that your credit score will be impacted and typically negatively impacted because you are now applying for new credit, right? So now you have to be mindful not having too many accounts, too many new accounts at the same time, because now that is potentially going to lower your score. Having too many credit cards. So let's just say we're now in April, you apply for another credit card in May and June. To the lenders, it may look like, okay, this person is borrowing a little bit too much when it comes to money, right? So having like some type of good time span in between your credit applications is the best practice. With recent credit, although it's 5%, it will last on your credit report for 2 years minimum. 2 years minimum. And this is whether or not you got approved, right? So whether or not you got that car loan, whether or not they gave you that laptop, you will see that on your credit report for 2 years, that credit application. Okay, so again, applying for credit wisely. 3% available credit. This is the amount of credit that you have not used, right? So we said that $1,000 limit earlier, and we only use 300. The $700 that's available will go towards our available credit. Right. So I told you earlier that there are fees to having credit cards. So some of the fees could be an interest rate. That's the amount that the lender charges you to borrow money. The best cards when you're starting off are cards that may be 0% for like the first 15 months, 18 months, because that means you're only going to pay back what you spent. Once you get into the portion where you do have an interest rate, you're now spending way more than and paying more than what you spent. Annual percentage rate, or the term APR, you'll hear often. This is a yearly cost of borrowing money and also has fees on top of the interest rate and also on top of the money that you borrowed. All right. So here is the chart here of the range, right? So we said that the lowest you could possibly have is 300. The highest you could have is 850. If we're starting at a 300 to 659, looking at here, Vantage score, it says poor. We're going to say work in progress, not poor, right? 660 to 719, that's fair credit. 720 to 779, that's good credit. 780 to 850 is excellent credit. Let's type in the chat, or we can shout out, where would we like to be here on this chart? Where would we like to be? I see excellent. Yes, we're striving for the best, right? Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. 760 and up, right? So a lot of times we will be starting in probably the fair, right? And then from the fair, we're going to work our way up to good, to excellent, with all the things that we're learning today, right? The high cost of having a low credit score, and I just want to share this all with you all today before we end. I know we're close to time. If for now, right, every last one of us at this point in time, we received a loan of $1,000. When it comes to the average interest rate, if our score is at about a 580, the interest rate we're paying on top of that 580 could be 28.5%. And that is very high interest rate, right? Compared to the person that's at a 719, their interest rate is lower, 13.5. Now, the percentages, a lot of times they get a little bit confusing, right? So let me break that down to numbers for you all. Your monthly payment at a 580, you could be looking at $42 minimum. That's the monthly minimum payment, right? The person at a 719 is $34. You're probably saying, Miss Tamara, that's not that much of a difference. That's only $8, right? But let's look over time. If we have that loan for $1,000, more than likely we'll have to pay it off within 3 years or 36 months. At 580, we're paying almost $1,500. We started off at $1,000, remember? Now we're paying almost $500 more. But 719 score is only paying $1,222, including all the interest rate and the fees. So do we see the difference now, where over time, it helps us save money by having a better credit score? The lower our credit score, the more money that we have to pay. Any questions on what we reviewed? Any questions on what we reviewed? Right? Why should we care about these things? Why should we care about credit score? Why should we care about a report card? Marilena.
Let's say you're trying to build your credit score, but the first thing you do is a student loan. Will that drop your credit score, or what will happen?
So when you're first starting off, student loan is actually, it helps you start building when you start making payment towards it. But with the student loans, it's a little complicated. So sometimes starting off, they may tell you that you can't do the student loan on your own. You need someone else to sign with you that already has credit established. And that is an option that, you'll probably have to explore. That if you cannot do the student loan on your own, they'll tell you, okay, is there somebody else that you know that can co-sign this student loan with you? Right. So in the beginning, it won't necessarily, if you don't have the credit in the beginning to get that student loan, it won't necessarily drop your credit score because you don't have the credit to meet that student loan. But someone else joining on the loan with you, that will help you to maintain that history of the student loan. Then student loans, you don't start paying those typically until you graduate, most of the student loans. So that's when the building of the credit starts coming into play, when you start paying towards the student loans. But great question. Any other questions? And Rosie, just want to be sure it's okay to take questions. I know that we're at time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We just sent the survey, so when you guys get a chance, be sure to complete the survey before you drop off. But yes, please ask questions. This is amazing. We see the survey responses coming through, so continue to complete the survey and ask questions. Now's your time.
Anyone else with questions? Feel free to type them in the chat as well. You all were like really, really great with information today. Your goals are great. In addition to your credit questions. Yes, Vegine.
I know that today's lesson was mostly about credit, but I have a question about saving.
Yes.
I would like to know, how can I save money? Because even though I try to keep a budget planner or a piggy bank, it doesn't really work for me.
So thinking about now, what is the best option in terms of what you're spending your money on every day, right? And then thinking first, Regine, how much money is incoming for you? So sometimes with the saving, it's harder because we first need to know, are we getting enough money to even start saving? So sometimes in the beginning, you'll notice that it's not enough. So thinking about, okay, what are the small amounts, right? It may be $5 per day, or maybe $5 per week, right? But analyzing your budget is what will be the best way to figure out how do you save. Look over right now, maybe if you're not using like any apps or anything like that to track your money, look over how you're spending your money, right? Whether you're doing it through maybe like your bank, or if you're getting like the online banking, online statements, anything like that, you can view how you're spending your money, calculate it. There are a lot of apps out there that automatically calculate a spending report for you from the bank. And then it'll tell you how much money you're spending per month, how much money is coming in and how much you're spending. And then from that, then you'll be able to calculate how much can I realistically save, right? And then thinking about the money that you're spending, the things you're spending your money on, how do I cut back a little bit? Just like for the budget screen that we were showing, how do I cut back a little bit on the current expenses that I have? Great question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Any other questions?
So I did see Roberto put a comment in here about the office hours and discussing more about the credit card and business accounts. So just so you all know, we do have a follow-on class that discusses in more depth credit worthiness, and we do get a little bit more into the details and nitty-gritty of credit. So this was sort of like a high-level overview, and the second class, which is in the advanced series, that will go a little bit into more depth. So absolutely, and we have the office hours tomorrow, so you all can join to ask any further questions that may not have come to mind tonight. But great job, guys. Great job. Awesome job.
Yes, yes. Great job. I want you all to clap it up for yourselves. You all were really, really amazing. It's always surprised every class that I get with all the scholars and how much knowledge you currently already have. I promise you know way more than I knew when I was your age. So it's really great. I want you all to continue with S.O.A.R. Let your friends know, your family know all the great information that you learned, so that more people can continue to join and get all the great information that you all get as well. I'm sure that in the next session, probably in the fall, I'll be back. So if you need to join again and join one of these classes and hear the information again, by all means, feel free. But again, I thank you all so much for your time, for your patience, for your questions. You all were really, really great. And thank you, Rosie, JR. I'm not sure, I didn't see who else had joined, but thank you to the entire Tiana, Leon. Thank you to the entire S.O.A.R family as well for having me again.
Merci.
We have Professor C. Morgan on the line as well. She's on. So thank you all so much.
And Professor Morgan, thank you too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tamara. This is always a pleasure to sit through the class, and I feel like I learn more every time. It just made me want to go run to the bank and drop a bunch of dollars in there, because I know I need to. All right, it looks like Janaya may have some questions. You have some questions, Janaya?
No, but I was at a track meet earlier, so I couldn't really I wasn't really I was on, but I wasn't really there. So I will go to office hours tomorrow for that review kind of.
Okay. And also the videos. So we record these classes for that reason as well, so you guys don't miss anything. So the video will be posted so you guys can see it on our website as well. Okay.
Zoom meetings are posted.
Yeah, they're on we post them on the website. So we haven't posted them yet because we're just downloading them. But yes, eventually they will be, and then we'll share them out with you guys.
And yeah, I don't know, for it's track season, right? So I might have meets any days. I wouldn't try to, go on my phone to, to have that attendance and be there. But I'm not sure I could just,
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the effort. We appreciate that, for you still joining. Yeah, we appreciate that. And for your honesty, thank you for that as well. So absolutely.
Locura. All right, as I was saying, mañana vamos a tener una visita al canal de Panamá.
We're gonna mute. That was Prince. Look like he's out. Prince is actually in Panama. So he wasn't even supposed to be on tonight, but we appreciate all of our scholars just taking the dedicated effort, making the effort rather to be here tonight. Thank you so much, Professor Tamara. We appreciate you, and have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
great
Have a great
evening.
night.
Good night.